Peace, light, and love, my YouTube family, friends, and fam. I'm going to do a read today with Maji. Got the T's, the chosen ones, 144 Oracle deck. Hope everybody's doing well, and we're going to go ahead and get into it. So, how's everybody doing? I don't know. I would love to have a conversation with you about what you think about what's going on in America right now. You know, in so many ways, what's going on with spirituality, what's going on with family dynamics, what is going on with black culture, black people, what's going on with white people, what's going on with all people, you know, how are we interacting, how are we all developing and growing? Like, you know, it's what world is this? This is not George Washington's America anymore. You know, this is not the America of Thomas Jefferson and James Madison. Like, you know, even though a lot of people are trying to take us back to similar lifestyles like that. But is that going to happen? You know, what is that going to look like for us? You know what I'm saying? And these efforts and what's going on with the current administration, you know, with the presidential administration. And I have such a feeling that people have not seen ish as to far as what is to come. And because these plans and stuff was going on, these things have been planned for decades. You know what I'm saying? This is like a 50-year plan, if not longer. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like Democrats and a lot of people, they seem to be ambushed. You know, like too much power has hit them at one time for them to be able to really do anything. And I'm not saying they can't do anything, but come on, a lot of these things, people are here just breaking the law, going against the Constitution, and have already planned it so that there's no rebuttal that can really be done effectively to stop them. I ain't gonna lie, it's pretty gangster. It's pretty gangster. I don't understand, as a black man, I'm targeted for this, but I would say, you know, no weapon formed against me shall prosper. And I'm so gangster enough that I'll tell you, that shit is gangster, man. The way these people are taking charge of America, the way they just doing what the F they want to do with America with 222 on the clock, it's pretty gangster. It's pretty gangster. Now, let's see if it's going to work. Let's see if it's going to work. But anyways, let's get a read just for, you know, what's going on right now in the world. What should we think? What should we feel? What is the guidance? What should we hear? Asking God, what should I say in making this video? You know what I'm saying? You know, a brother could be on his grooming. I mean, I'm groomed, you know, I'm clean and whatever, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like I want to be looking a little bit more suave on this motherfucker. But it's okay. Anybody has a clothing brand or anything like that, you want to support a brother, come be a miracle. Be a miracle. Oh, these are some good ones. All good messages coming through. Pretty lighthearted. Good energies. Good energies. Okay, so back of the deck is DNA upgrade. DNA upgrade, baby. We also got, not only are you a miracle, but one is on its way to you. So not only are we miracles, but we've got miracles coming to us too as a collective. And hey, I'm grateful for that. We've got Earth Angel Healer. You know what I'm saying? Of course, we are not like the rest of these things called humans walking around planet Earth that much. It's obvious we know this and have known this for an incredibly long time. And with every day, it only becomes more and more blatantly and sometimes painfully obvious that we are not like the rest of these things walking around the earth called humans. God, it takes God love. It takes God love. Then we got psychic powers, clairvoyant. Psychic powers, clairvoyant. So clairvoyance is being able to have psychic seeing. So those who are clairvoyant can, hold on, I'm back. So clairvoyance is when you have the ability to see things psychically, see people's auras, see the future, to see what people are doing from a distance. These are things where these are blessings, but anybody who's had these powers, it can be heavy. You know, what comes to mind, I'm not going to talk about this for much. Let's say if you have a cheating spouse, you know, you may think it's cool to have the ability to see what they are doing with other people, but ask yourself, would you really want to see that? You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like those type of things. Or you might see that someone is not really a friend, um, but you know, you can't help but to know that. And also when people are doing things against us, maybe they are speaking against us or crafting against us. You know, if you know, you know. Let's say they're crafting against us. You know, in your dreams, you might see these things, and sometimes they can be, you know, a little scary, a little frightful. You know, of things to see. Ooh. Um, you know, psychic power, clairvoyance. You know, you know, we got our sixth chakra, our third eye chakra. You know, usually in Western civilization, it's considered that we have seven chakras, but we really have way more than that. Like, you know, if you go to the eastern part of the world, they'll tell you about all different type of chakras, like we have in our hands and in our feet and things. You know, a country bumpkin in our feet. In our foots. Anyways, you know, so you got seven chakras. The first one being like around your butt, you know, your base of your spine is called your root chakra. Then you have in your sexual organ area your sacral chakra. Then you have your lower abdominals, your solar plexus. Then you have your fourth chakra, your heart chakra. Then you have your fifth chakra, your throat chakra. Then you have your sixth chakra, your third eye chakra. And you have your seventh chakra, your crown chakra. You know, so this is talking about psychic powers and clairvoyance, and be able to look people in the eyes and know the truth of their soul. What am I getting from this? So I believe, cause I was talking about if anybody had a clothing brand, you know, I was watching to put a brother on, and this card was when I flipped over at that time, talking about not only are we miracles, but we have miracles coming to us, and for us to believe that we have gifts coming for us. And I just saw my birthday on the numbers on the screen too. So, and these are things, gifts that we have been deserving of and have been so worthy of, but might have gone without, right? I know a lot of us, you know, we have not always been shown appreciation for who we are, you know, and we likely, a lot of us have been like the giving type, and we want people to feel adored. We want people to know that we love them, we admire them, and that, you know, we enjoy their being in our lives. So we tend to be givers and tend to really love, you know, pretty hard, right? My sun sign is in Cancer, so I am definitely a lover. And my Venus, which is my love sign, is in Leo. So very fiery, passionate, steamy lover I am, you know. For I know for a lot of us that those gifts that we have been deserving of for a long time and likely have gone without, I believe there are gifts coming towards us. God is rectifying things, and God is, you know, God is making us feel special. Like, I'm just getting the vibe like I'm being a birthday and getting a gift. And if you're like me, I didn't really get gifts for a birthday. And as an adult, I have not celebrated birthdays, you know, and I've even had like I haven't celebrated. I had people die on my birthdays. I had an ex cheat on me, go to a whole nother state to be a hoe and cheat on me on my birthday, you know, stuff like that. But not really been celebrated on my birthday, not really giving gifts on my birthday, things of that nature. So I believe that God is saying, like, he's always been watching us, always been seeing what's been going on, and everything has always been in his divine plan, that he is looking out for us, and that we will, you know, be taken care of, and that, you know, he is balancing the scales, and that he is, you know, doing his thing, and we're going to feel that God loves us and that God is blessing us. There are miracles on the way. So trigger warning, I'm sorry if anyone lost anybody on their birthdays, whatever. You know, I personally tell people when I leave planet Earth, everybody better celebrate. I want nobody crying, being upset. That's not what it's for. I want everybody to celebrate. You better have a party and twerk that ass. You know what I'm saying? I want people twerking and partying it up, celebrating it up, because it's like, that's what I'm doing. Because best believe that's what I'm going to be doing on the other side. Do you hear me? As Jordan, the chosen one, says, understand, understand. When I get up out of here, it is going to truly be a celebration to get the fuck out of planet Earth. You better believe that. Earth angel, earth healer. So, I'm getting that many of us, we've known that there are certain things that we do and certain ways that we have. We are earth angels, healers, and understanding that we have things about ourselves that are naturally healing to other people that we may not even intentionally go about doing to heal. So, maybe you've been humming somewhere or doing artwork or, singing, dancing, or, writing poetry or writing, just composing any type of literature, or teaching people things, or cooking for other people, or cleaning things, or building things, and you bless others, you heal others with that work of yours, with that natural way you have, hugging people. Maybe you hug people and they just come away afterwards, they're like, wow, that was a really good hug, because they can feel the energy, they feel a closeness and connection to God in your arms. As earth angels and healers, a lot of times I'm also hearing very clearly, okay, God, by our examples. So how we live our lives and people watching how we put the left foot in front of the right foot. And then the right foot in front of the left. And that when we got to, people watch and observe how we stop, drop, and roll. Because in life, it's not always about how you get the W, but sometimes it's about how you take the L. And I know we don't want to hear that, Nobody wants to take the L, especially like me with all this Capricorn in me, baby. All this Capricorn and Leo. We don't like taking L's around here. Shout out to my Cappies. Shout out to my Leos. You know what I'm saying? I really love being a Capricorn, too. I got a lot of heavy Capricorns. So my sun sign is in Cancer. I got way more Capricorn placements than I do Cancer placements. And I feel that. Sometimes a brother get himself a situation, you think, obviously people thinking, what in the world made him think he was going to get through that? And I got through it because of the grace of God. But the way I just would not back down. It's that Capricorn, that Leo. Back down who? Back down what? Back down where? Sometimes, I be asking God to be with me, man. Because I do not like to back down. And maybe that's a lot for us in the collective right now. We're feeling like we've got so much pride and so much, respect and integrity within ourselves, for ourselves, that, when things seek to antagonize and come against us, we really want to defend ourselves. And God's really been telling me, so maybe if you need to hear this too, my friend, we have to know when to let God get the lick back. Of course, we know to defend ourselves, but then we may ask ourselves, where's the line? When should I defend myself, and when should I necessarily give it to God? And sometimes I'll be asking God, why must I have to why can't I get my lick in too with you, God? You know what I'm saying? All right, God, you handle it, but let me get in there too. And God's really been telling me, Joshua, look, man, you gotta know when to stand up for yourself and when to not be a crazy motherfucker. And that's some real shit. Because if you like me in this world, people fuck with us. Because we don't fuck with other people. They look at us and a lot of times they don't feel intimidated and they feel jealous and envious. So because they're jealous, they envious, and they think, oh, we so composed and that we so not crazy that they can fuck with us. So we think, okay, a lot of us may think, you think you can fuck with me, I'm about to show you that I'm not the one for you to mess with. And a lot of times we got to be very careful so that we don't get ourselves in trouble. So we don't get ourselves hurt. You know? And that's why we have to really give it to God. And I could be honest with you, transparent. I'm really going through that with where I'm living right now. And with people who are jealous. Even though, you know what I'm saying, went through the mud. And I'm not even sure it was only just mud. Had to be some shit, something, diarrhea up in that fucking mud. And I was in it. And the motherfuckers watched me claw, climb, and roll my way out of it. Laughing at me. Laughing at me as I was doing it. And then they looked up, and I had surpassed them. I'm doing better than them. My shiny is shinier than theirs. My grass is greener than theirs. I look better than them. I always did that. I ain't gonna front. They ain't never had that on me. Not being cocky. Maybe I am being a little cocky. I tell myself, and a lot of us, we got to be a little cocky in this world. We deserve to be. So much of our lives, we've been the humble one. And then I sit back and say, for the fuck what? For the fuck what on this planet Earth do I need to continue to be fucking humble myself and not stand up and say, yeah, motherfucker, I know my ranking, and I know what the fuck I am and what the fuck you not. Let me calm down. So yeah, we can be good people, but you know, I'm really getting tired of this people wanting us to be humble, or this teaching to be humble. Ye are gods. No, you are a god. No, you are a god. I feel like people be humble because that's what people tell them to be, and because they want people to like them and shit like that. I spent my whole life, man, people not liking me no matter what I do. How many of us have that experience? How many times you walk in a room and people don't like you because they don't like you and won't like you? You get a new job and you already know those people who not gonna like you time and time again. You join a group, you go do something. It's always those people. And it's because of our light, because of our vibration. People get around us and they feel that we're different. And it bothers them. It unsettles them because a lot of times we are what they pretend to be, or we are what they like to think they are. You know what I'm saying? They want to think they're the most charismatic in the room. They want to think they're the one with the most powerful energy in the room. They want to think they're the best looking one in the room. They want to think they're the one, you know, closest to God in the room. And a lot of us, we're not even competing like that. If you're a handsome man, congratulations. I support your ass. If you're a rich motherfucker, congratulations. We don't have that in us. We don't feel that same type of way. You know what I'm saying? But these other things on planet Earth that people call humans, they don't operate the same as the chosen ones. And we know this. So I just say this to kind of support you, you know, as you go through it. And I'm hearing a lot of different opinions and feelings. People have all different type of thoughts and feelings about the words I was just saying. And that's okay. Because it's only because of lived life experience that anybody can say similar words to what I'm saying. And then if you don't say it and you're not feeling the words that I'm saying, then your life experiences have just been different. And that's okay. Because we're all here for our own individual purposes. And I know that I'm speaking right now because the words that I'm saying are supposed to be heard by whom they are supposed to be heard by. Let's get to the psychic powers clairvoyant. So a lot of us, I don't know if you're like me, I've gotten to the point now where I've gotten way more comfortable with just flat out saying I know I'm psychic. You know, I don't as much, you know, worry about what people think or feel about it. And then there's always this classic, well, tell me, you know, well, read my mind. Tell me what I'm thinking. What's my favorite color? And I love that this thought's coming up because there's so many aspects of being psychic and perceiving psychic energy. Like being psychic is just, you know, you can feel the nature of somebody's energy. You may not hear, like on a typewriter, all the words, or see like on a typewriter the words in their head. And sometimes a lot of us, we will. Have you ever had that happen? Like you talk, standing next to somebody, and you literally hear their voice in your head saying a sentence, saying something. You know, that started happening to me after I really got delved into a lot of the psychic stuff, but we're all different. You know, some of us have to work for certain levels of this, and some people, you know, it's active, boom, on its own or by birth or, you know, without practice, you know? So, like for me, I would see people's auras without practice. And that started for me. And a lot of this all happened when I was a young kid. Maybe you relate. And then I got spooked by it, and it stopped. It halted. And then in college, for me, especially, a lot of these things that happened to me when I was a very young kid resurfaced. Like seeing people's third eye. When I was a kid, it scared me so fucking bad. I went in the bathroom, was like looking in the mirror, and you know, just thought I was weird and what's going on. I was just very scared that I was seeing people with three eyes. I was seeing people's third eye right there, you know, and so it freaked me out, you know, and of course, you know, no one. I mean, as far as if you knew where I'm coming from, they didn't confirm that for me, you know, and you know, I was just left feeling weird and creepy. But then now as an adult, I realized what I was seeing as three eyes. I didn't know about, you know, the third eye teachings and stuff like that. You know, I just know that I was looking around and people looking like monsters because they had three eyes. You know, and then also I would see in college I began to distinctly see auras. And so I would see, you know, the greens and yellows, especially when people stand up against a white wall, kind of like this. I would see the colors are all around, especially around the head. I would see colors around. I remember being in biology class in college, and I'm looking around this professor, and I'm like, motherfucker, if I'm not seeing these colors around this nigga head right now, if I'm not seeing what I think I'm motherfucking seeing, I know I am. And then I had a director, a musical director, and he was directing us as we were singing. And he had purple, like flames. It was like a stream of purple, like smoke, it looked like, coming out of his head, the top of his head. He was standing in front of us as we were singing. And he was directing us. And he was in the zone, like he was putting the music together. And he was sitting at the piano too. And he was directing us and at the piano. You know, and then I was seeing like this purple smoke coming out of his head. Not knowing, you know, what all that really was, you know, distinctly back then. But you know, but it was around that time of graduating college that I could no longer explain my experiences through Christian teachings. I was raised. I'm gonna be honest with you, I was raised by evil people who pretended to be Christians in the Christian church and had positions inside the church. But I'm gonna leave it at that. But those people don't know who they really are and what they really practice. You know, they don't know what they practice in their basements and in the woods when no one's looking. That's all I'm gonna say. So I was raised I had that bloodline going on. And when I got to around the age of graduating college, I could no longer use typical, you know, for things like, you know, do Christians really believe that they are here to do the same and greater than Jesus, as it says in the Bible? Do they believe they came here to do the same or greater? So let's say, for example, Jesus walked on water. Do you know any Christian who really expects for them to do something like walking on water or greater? I asked, do you know a Christian who really expects for themselves to be able to walk on water or greater? And if a Christian were to see somebody walk on water, would they think it was God? Or would they think it might have been something else? So if a Christian see me with this oracle card or this tarot card, and they see me walk on water, are they going to call it God? You ever seen a Christian walk on water lately? Now, let's go to another country where they practice other stuff, and you ask them when the last time they saw somebody walk on water. Let's go to Africa and ask them when the last time they saw somebody walk on water. I wonder how recently someone saw such a thing. I'm just putting it out there. And I actually think that is the message, man. Stay strong. There's so much that I want to say. I wish I could have a conversation. Maybe I'll start going live. You know, once I get to 500 subscribers, I think I will try to go live. So that's a little bit away. Help a brother get to 500 subscribers, please. I am making my way. You know, because you know on YouTube, once we get to 500 subscribers with certain views and stuff, like your page is like popping. Like you in there, man. You in there once you have 500 subscribers. So let's try to make it happen. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'd like to hear from you. And until next time, peace.